mother's the most ferocious form of love. So right.
Tegan?
Yes.
Tegan. Hello, gals, blokes, and all other folks. My name is Mortius, and today we are back with the one, the only Tegan Early, checking out the continuation of what we checked out last week. We are looking at Endome, and then Mother 2 and Mother 3. If you missed the last video, we looked at Lullaby and Mother 1. This whole album is like one big solid story as far as I've been told. And so if you missed that video, I definitely encourage you to go back and watch it. We hit some really important topics and also just experience some just genuinely incredible music. And I'm so excited to see where it goes from here. Do you have any thoughts to share with the people in between?
Buckle up, 'cause it just keeps rolling from here.
Oh no! My one big question before going into it, I asked this, you started answering, I was like, no, we have to do it on camera, because I always have to think about that. But I don't know what Endome means. Can you explain that to me and anyone else who doesn't?
Yes. So Endome, the title came from, because unfortunately, even though my initial diagnosis was kind of like rescinded, I still was diagnosed with endometriosis, which is a disorder of like the reproductive system in which basically tissue starts growing where it's not supposed to be. And it can be very painful. So I have a lot of flare-ups still where like it can be anything from just kind of like an annoying, almost cramp-like sensation to like I'm buckled over on my bathroom floor. And there was one such day after all of this kind of went down where I was buckled over on my bathroom floor. And it literally felt like I was dying. Like I literally thought I was going to die. And I knew I wasn't. Realistically, I knew it was just kind of like my body reacting to this thing.
But still,
it felt like I was ripped apart. And so I kept thinking like, oh my God, this is the end. I'm dying. This is the end. This is the end. And then I realized like endo is how endometriosis is kind of colloquially referred to. So then to kind of get myself through that moment and not like panic, I was like, okay, let's do some wordplay. All right, we've got endo, endome, end of me. Okay, this is the end of me. This is, like, and I started kind of riffing off of this wordplay that I came up with the condition and what I was feeling. And then that turned into this interlude.
Okay, I guess that's something I have in my heart now.
I say that this EP literally like pulled me out of some really dark moments, I mean like literally I was in the midst of them and then I would start writing in my head for a lot of this. So.
That's so amazing. That's really amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I've definitely escaped into songwriting and storytelling for those things. I've never released them myself, but
what are you doing then? We'll put the rest of the EP on hold. I want to do a reaction to your music.
Oh no. Well, we will see how that goes. But for right now, we are hopping into the continuation of the Mother album. Please make sure you are supporting Tegan on all of these other platforms. Of course, if you are here, you almost certainly know her through Epic, where she is an absolute powerhouse, incredibly talented, but she brings all of that into her solo work as well. So please make sure that you are not only supporting Jay and Epic, of course, and, supporting me. Please make sure you're liking and subscribing, all of those things that are very important to creators, but also make sure you are supporting Tegan and T/Mo for this album. So without any further ado, Endome, with the knowledge that I now have, here we go. Ooh. before we can even get into how, like, this is super cool. Is this stock footage? Is this like actor that you like? How did this even happen?
So I usually use independent artists for all my lyric videos. And this was an AI artist, and I'd never worked with an AI artist before this video. And we can have a whole other video on my feelings on AI and the arts, because I think that like the reason that it's scary is because it's a tool that was put into the wrong hands, not because it's not a really full tool. And that was proven with this incredible artist who I got to work with here. Is like this it's all AI generated. So there are still moments. I look at AI often as like some of the third graders I teach, right? Like they are so enthusiastic and they're like, look at this thing that I made. And you're like, okay, I asked you for a fire truck, and what you drew was kind of like a transformer with wings, and like it has a lollipop for some reason. And like, I love the creativity. I love the enthusiasm. And here's all the things that I specifically love about this. Let's try again on the fire truck, please. Like it's literally, it's just a, you know, it's not great with generative images unless you really know how to craft it. And so like, it's a really interesting art form, and I learned a lot from working with this artist. But yeah, so all of this is AI generated. You still see moments in there that are like, oh, that's definitely AI, which is why I also added my own edits to this one to blur some of like the more the images that weren't accurate to the storytelling. But I still had people comment being like, why? And I'm like, because I'm working with a very over-enthusiastic third grader who I love. So that's why, you know, and the artist themselves is not a third grader, to be clear.
No, I get what you're saying. And yeah, I know AI is definitely a very hot topic for a lot of valid reasons, but there's a lot of it. You were like, we could have a whole conversation about it. I'm like, yes, now, no, brain, don't do that.
Yes, but eventually, soon.
Eventually, yeah.
Good and important. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Let's hit these lyrics.
Enemy, this feels like the enemy.
Whoa.
Enemy, enemy inside of me.
Side of me. Excuse me? Where's
Mama, I was trained as a contralto for a minute. I love that range. I love it. I had a whole conversation with Peter about like voice types and stuff like that. And because the classical world is so funny about their voice types.
Yes.
And how like it's one thing and you are that one thing always. And so I started as a lyric soprano, and then they're like, no, maybe you're a coloratura soprano. And then they were like, no, you're definitely a mezzo soprano. And then they're like, wow, you are definitely not that. You are absolutely a contralto, because you can really, really get down there.
I see.
So then I did a lot of pants roles in operas, which was a blast and a half. And then I was like, this is so silly, because I can do all of these notes. So why would I not go to an art form where I am allowed to do all of these notes?
I love that. No, that's really cool. I love the way that helps tell the story. Like the absolute, like the da 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 da, like that really big belt, and now just, but this at like end of me down really low. That's crazy. I love that. It's definitely impressive. Like to have that kind of range. I'm very I unfortunately did not have a super supportive or awesome teacher during the formation of my range, and therefore like it's weird because like I have a very small range, but my entire range is kind of like a power zone for me. Like I don't have like the zone that people normally have where it leaves what they're good at singing, but they can still hit. I just don't have. Like I just don't like the bottom of my range is also the bottom of what I'm good at singing. Like I can't like breathe out any lower. You know what I mean? So like it's weird because my range is pretty small, and like I've had a really hard time trying to learn how to like deepen it. But
yeah, sure.
In exchange, all the notes I can sing with pretty confidence. So it's a weird balance, but it's cool to know like how much of a range you have, and the fact that on this EP that is so much of you pull out every part of your like that show. Like we are getting the entire span of Tegan vocally as well as in every other way.
Yeah.
got me caught between your teeth. Enemy, release me, please. Enemy, just how much of there is in M-R-E-U-T-Z, no one can see.
I think I understood at least one of them, but for the other one and for audience who might not, can you... Oh, didn't go back far enough. M-R-E-U-T-Z. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. So endometriosis is a condition that has to do with tissue. And tissue is obviously very hard to like see and kind of pin down. So one of the trickiest things about it is it's very hard to tell how far you are in your development of that tissue, because like what stage you are of the disorder, because you have to have a very, very invasive procedure in order to like literally someone has to basically like go in there and dig around and be like, oh, look how much of it is there.
Yeah.
Because we can't see it on an MRE, we can't see it on a UTZ, like none of these procedures that we normally, ultrasounds, like none of that can really track it except for like little glimpses of it. And so you never really know how much of it is there unless you have like unless there's certain processes and like certain, you kind of have to like get a bunch of things done to get a full picture of like what's going on inside your body. So pretty crazy.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for explaining. Because I don't like, I knew like MRE, but I don't think I know even what a UTZ is. Like I haven't heard that acronym in like the medical field. So that's why I wasn't sure on that one. So that's just like another scanning thing, I guess. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know the ins and outs of it, unfortunately. Because I should have done my research when I was writing the line. But I was just like, that's rhyme.
It's a very good line. And are all of the vocals you? Or is there anything that like all that like that really cool thing that happened there? That's all you? Awesome. There's so much vocal complexity happening here.
Great moment to shout out so this is the other producer I worked with on this, and she only worked on this track. Her name is Joey Grace. She's based out in Long Beach, California. She's like an older sister to me. Like I absolutely adore her. We were introduced through a mutual friend and partner of mine, and like we clicked. It was like one of those things where we clicked instantly as humans first. Like, oh my God, now we get to create some amazing things together. How exciting. And so she worked on this one for me. And basically what I did is I sent her these like deranged voice memos of me just being like, what about this line? What about this line? What about this? And like, oh, what if we added some breaths in to like really make it think? And she was like, heard, understood. And she took the assignment and like, she created this whole soundscape that like, I was like, the first time I heard this, I had chills like running up and down my body because she did the whole intro with like almost like the warping of the like that dreamscape or nightmarescape, whatever you want to call it. And then she layered all of the harmonies and different things on top. Like she's a next level, like visionary collaborator. She's awesome. Like absolutely incredible.
What a cool thing for it to accidentally connect there, though, because you like, oh, that's so cool. And I don't mean to just immediately be like, yes, and me. No. But, and I'm so confident you're going to want to ask questions. We do have to keep going tragically, but you're going to find this really cool because as you were describing that song that I told you that I wrote from my own dark place, its title is Dreamscape.
No way.
Yeah, that's the name of the song and like a recurring kind of thing. So you kind of describing that as like that sort of weird dark eeriness at the beginning, you using the word dreamscape, I was just like, well, that hurts. Anyways.
All I'm saying is that I think that's a sign that like you should put it out. I think that's
Deegan, stop doing this to me.
No.
Oh my God. So, is that that might have been the fastest pause ever, but, oh, come on. So, is that hearkening back to where we got like, end of she, end of he, is that the hypothetical children to be? Am I picking up on that right? Yeah. So the
And that's not in a gendered sense. That's literally representing the characters that exist on the album. So there's
oh,
Theo, who you're going to hear about in Mother 2. And that's the son that she
the
imagines having.
hypothetical, yeah.
Um, but then the little girl in the video is another dream that she's had, and that's like the daughter. And so the end of she being the daughter kind of represented in Mother 1, and end of he being Theo, who is kind of the character of the child that exists for the rest of the EP.
Cool. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Yeah, great catch.
I mean, I like that lyricism. I realize I'm like, that's really cool. I like that. And I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, I don't. It's terrible. It's heartbreaking. I don't.
It's so sad.
I shouldn't be like, oh yeah, I love that. I don't. It's terrible. But I also love the lyricism and symbolism. So, oh.
No, it was such a silly little thing, like when I put this out, because I got so many texts from people who like I either hadn't spoken to in many years or like whatever, and they were like, or like just random fans being
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I
Are you
love
good?
this. This was so good." Yeah, are you
Are you
okay? Like, hi, what's going on? What's going like? Are you well? And like it was like always that like people felt bad congratulating me about the music without being like, "Hey, just checking in," and I was like, "That's so fair."
Congratulations on releasing this. Are you good? Are you?
Yeah, are you?
Yeah, that's really funny and totally makes sense. Jeez.
Theo.
Oh.
Theo. 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 Theo.
Oh, and it just gotcha.
Go right in. Yes, Q.
I'm so curious. Wow, no! Sync-Watch does that sometimes. Sync-Watch is lame. Sync-Watch just like jumped forward for me, but it didn't start playing, so we'll still be able to take it back.
Okay.
I was about to ask something, and that just completely distracted me. So, is there any kind of specifics? Because there is obviously so much meaning in names, and I'm sure you know that more than anyone. Is there anything specifically, like, did Theo come from anything? Was that like something always in your head that was like, this is what I would want a son to be named? Or is there is there like a, like, linguistic significance? Like, just where did that name come from? Because nothing on this album was by accident. I can tell that.
Oh yeah. So Theo comes from actually what's so crazy about how all of this relates. When I was in undergrad at Notre Dame with Jorge, I had a dream one night about where and it sounds crazy. So I'm gonna say this. You actually, I think have the exclusive on this. I don't think I've ever talked about this.
Wow.
Like,
Thank you for the privilege.
oh my gosh, thank you for asking the question. I had a dream where, as wild as it sounds, I lived 4 years in one night. I basically woke up in a hospital room and I was giving birth, and I gave birth to a baby boy who I then, in the dream, the name just came to me as it was Theo or Theodore. And it was me and him from that moment. And like, and then I lived the first 4 years of his life in one night. Which I still cannot really make sense of, because it was literally like I had jumped. And for people who believe in this stuff, like it's I'd be really interested to hear your take on this, but like it almost felt like I jumped timelines.
Wow.
And I was in a place where I had given birth to a child who I named Theo, and then like I existed in that timeline for a really significant amount of time, where like I introduced him to my family. I saw him grow up. I saw him get sick. I saw that, like, the home we lived in together. I introduced him to a mentor of mine who then told me I ruined my entire acting career, and I didn't care because I had him. You know, like, it didn't matter. And like, it was so vivid and detailed and powerful that I then woke up and that little boy didn't exist anymore, and I didn't get out of bed for us. Like, it took me probably 48 hours to get out of bed. I could not cope with that. And the only time that, again, and it's so interesting how like this is a recurring theme in my life, but like the only way that I was able to get up and kind of like get back to my life that I was currently experiencing was I wrote like a 10-page letter to that little boy, basically saying that like I would find him again someday, and I called it Dear Theo. And then a lot of, so oddly weird timing, but a lot of Mother 2 was pulled directly from that letter.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not answering. Was it?
Super personal and probably heartbreaking question, just that I'm curious before we press play. Was that dream before or after the diagnosis?
Before. It was actually like 3 or 4 years before that even happened. So then when I got the diagnosis, it wasn't just
the loss even more tangible. There was someone in your mind that was,
yeah, not. And I wonder to this day, I haven't asked him about it, but I wonder if, because Jorge and I were actually in a philosophy class together at the time. And there was a day when I didn't come into class because I'd had this experience. And then I came in and he was like, hey, you good? And I said, yeah, like I had this really wild thing that happened and stuff like that. And I remember like just, he gave me a look and he gave me a nod and he's like it's going to be okay. Like he literally told me it's going to be okay. And then and we didn't have the chance to talk about it anymore. But like that interaction like rooted me.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I can be okay.
Remembers that happened, but like it really brought me back to earth in that moment, so, which was much needed. So yeah, that's the story of Theo. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to stop asking you questions for the sake of my own mental well-being. I'm kidding. I loved every answer, but also, dear Lord. All right.
It's a little bit of a joke in my fan base right now that like everyone's like, all right, so when can I send you my therapy bill? And I'm like, that's fair. When this pops off, send them my invoice me.
Let's see. SyncWatch has a glitch. Once you've passed it, you can't go back to the beginning or it'll glitch to a new video. What's the lyric before? Because why would you show me his face?
Yeah. Hey God, if you're up there, it's a return of that. Yes, this proves that you're a man. Because why would you show me his face if you really understand?
So, okay, I see. Hey God, if you're up.
Would you show me his face if you really understand?
And that's, of course, that, yep. Why would you show me his face? Is that story you just shared? My Lord.
Isolation's lying in a hospital alone. This I've always known. But peace is when a person knows the language of your soul. Little did I know. With searing pain come blood, red knife split me into both sides. We'll fight for you.
Hold on. That was way too many lyrics. I'm gonna be completely transparent about my ADD. My stomach growled, and I thought I had literally not even long enough to fully take myself out of it. My stomach growled, and I had 2 seconds where my brain went to wait, do I have a lunch plan today? And by the time, even just in those 2 seconds, by the time I returned, I was suddenly in the most heartbreaking line of lyrics I'd ever experienced. And I was like, what just happened? My brain looked away at the wrong time. What just happened?
I get my producer and my manager get on me a lot because they're like, Tegan, it's so wordy. It's so many words. And I'm like, I know!
It's my words. Leave me alone!
It's my words.
Peace is when a person knows the language of your soul. Little did I
Okay, what are these lyrics?
With searing pain come blood, red knife split me into both sides. We'll fight for he who's known me my whole life. Mother, create, let there be light. I've judged value always.
And the way you are Mother, let there be light, the interlocking of the concept of God and the concept of mother, I know there is no way it was coincidence to say, Mother, let there be light. Like, you continue to interlock these in such a beautiful and incredible, stunning way. Tegan!
I mean, if divinity, whatever divinity you believe in, if you believe in one at all, or the universe, or whatever it is a generative divinity, if it's something that can create life, it is Mother. That is what distinguishes motherhood from everything else, is the ability to create life where there was previously none.
Wow.
Yeah. So I grew up Catholic, can you tell?
Just a little bit. There's no. I don't think I've ever hopped into that. I don't think I've ever hopped into that on my channel, but I'm feeling you. I'm feeling you.
Before on whether it would start or
Wait, sorry.
tell you always before on whether it would start or
Okay.
and though I'd level roam for you, I'd lay down arms forever too.
This is one of my better poetic moments.
Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't actually have one. I just felt like I would level roam for you, but I would lay the arms down too, or however it was phrased. But that's wow.
Because I think we think of, things that, like, I always hear, I would fight for this. Like when something's important to you, you would fight for it. And I think in some ways that's, goddess of wisdom and war over here. In some ways, fighting is like the easier of the two options, because you can just lose control. It takes an immense amount of control, an immense amount of care to stop fighting, like for something, and stop fighting, not in the sense that you're not still working for it and trying to help protect it, but there's so much peace in this idea that, like, not only would you fight for someone, but you'd also, if they told you to, like, stop everything you were doing, you would do it.
Why do I keep asking you questions?
Yeah, that's why we're not getting anywhere on any of this.
It keeps hurting.
A deep talk.
It's so good.
All about.
It's phenomenal. It's just, oh my gosh.
Thought that I was strong until I saw how small you were, and for you I would march through hell or stop the earth mid-turn, and I've pissed off believers by always needing to see, but holding you was plenty God to me. So why'd you have to leave? No, every time I close my eyes, I hope I'll meet him there. Tell me how that's fair, that I can still recall his eyes, his laugh, his tangled hair, but he was never there. The grief won't leave, it poisons me. Don't know what's real and who's a dream. I watched him live a whole damn life, till waking stole him with the night. I thought that I'd known love before, until his toys litter the floor. It frightens me, the things I do to make sure I get to meet you.
This one doesn't always get me anymore, but today it is.
This is incredible. This is incredible. It is stunning what you have brought into the world with this. It's really amazing. It's such an accomplishment what you have managed to actually bring into the world with this. Like I can't express that enough. Like it's really impressive. It's really amazing. It's
labor of love and
it's
a
something
labor
special.
of teamwork. Because none of this would be hitting as hard as it did if Joey Grace and JP were not so unbelievably good at their jobs. Because I
Absolutely.
come to them with lyrics and maybe a melody and like some ideas about like, oh, and we can have like a swell here and stuff like that, but then they build the rest of it, and it's just every time it
Wow.
happens, it's so stunning and like life being brought into the world. And so they breathe life into these pieces, and so I'm so grateful to get the chance to work with them.
Man, that's so good. That's, oh my God.
I was strong until I saw how small you were. And for you, I would march through hell or stop the earth mid-turn. And I've pissed off believers by always needing to see.
The by in parentheses. Why?
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's no deep reason for this. I think I just sent them a delay because, like, once again, this was another incredible like independent that I worked with who made this lyric video, and I think I just sent them a old version of the lyrics in which I didn't
Hadn't
think I was
decided
gonna be.
if you were going to.
And then we ended up recording it. So
I see. No. Well, hey, that's okay. That means it's the first question I'm going to ask that doesn't have some kind of heartbreaking backstory to it.
yeah, right. Like, thank
But
you.
all of I'm going to make a weird analogy here that I feel like for the people who only have a surface level understanding, because I feel like as this specific property has gone on, it's become a caricature of itself and is not taken as seriously as it used to be. And I don't want it to seem like I'm diminishing this story by connecting it to just like something so overdone in pop culture. But I'm going to make a really weird connection to Marvel right now. Because one of my favorite, even before it was adapted into the TV show and then movie, is House of M, which is Wanda's story. The story. Did you watch WandaVision?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Bet you that brought up some emotions for you, didn't it?
Oh yeah, because and what's crazy is I was having this whole experience. I wrote this whole thing. I had watched WandaVision, but I didn't make that connection. And then one of my dearly beloved fans who has been with me since the very beginning, made an edit of like WandaVision to this particular song, and I fully wept.
Send that to me, Jesus.
It is so, really one of the things that I thought was so powerful about that. I do remember when I was watching through it, relating it back to this dream that I had because I had the dream, I hadn't had the experience yet.
Yes.
And I was like, I can't believe that there's a piece of media out there that captures this. So I don't think that's a bad connection.
Good. I'm so glad. Like I said, I know that like it's like, oh, like this trauma and then a Marvel movie, but like connecting to kind of like that story, which by the way is still one of the only good TV shows. And also the comic storyline it's based on being one of the only ones I've actually read all the way through. The way that it conveys the power, strength, and rage of motherhood is so connected to here. And honestly, like I never thought that I would recommend a comic book to someone in a collaboration like this, but if you ever have the ability to get your hands on the full House of M storyline, like it's incredible. It's everything that the best parts of WandaVision were without the parts that were the spectacle of modern MCU. Like it's beautiful. It's an incredible comic run. And this is giving me such the same kind of strength that genuine and like, and how cool is that? How cool yet heartbreaking yet terrifying that you like the strength and power and grief you feel is conveyed so beautifully here that the only way as someone who's never experienced it, the only way I can even comprehend it is relating it to the strongest, like one of the strongest characters in the entire Marvel universe. The Scarlet Witch herself, that's pretty cool.
Literally, okay, quick aside for anyone who works with Marvel or Elizabeth Olsen, my goddess herself. Call me. Bring her back, first of all, justice for Wanda. And then bring her back and I will write music for everything.
I love
The
that.
end.
Honestly, as we were having this conversation, I was looking at like the red dress, the hair, and I was just like, honestly, if that hasn't already happened for a Halloween or something, it very strongly needs to. You would kill that.
Everyone is, yep, I've gotten that from pretty much everyone I know, and it is so on my radar.
Well,
and
isn't it cool that I made that connection not just for the aesthetics, but because of that power?
Yeah, thank you. Oh my god, I'm so happy. That makes me so happy. Thank you.
Oh my god, this video is so long.
That holding you was plenty God to me.
Oh, and that line. I haven't paused and talked about the line, but jeez.
So I the gates of heaven stage a coup. St. Peter as my hostage. For what do I have to lose? 'Cause God, how dare you take it back? How can you just expect me to forgive you for that? I stand aside and scars there to have a place to bed. How can I so miss someone I've never even met?
Tegan!
I was like, you were talking about the WandaVision stuff, and I was literally like, oh,
Just wait until we press play. I think there was a moment there where I kind of hurt my jaw because I think my jaw was open and then something made my jaw drop, but it was already dropped and there wasn't any more room for it to go. Like, I was like, and then so I was like, huh, and I was like, wait, ow! Like,
do me. Massage your hinges.
really? Holy cow! That. I don't even know if I can handle it, but I have to. I need that again.
So the gates of heaven stage a coup. St. Peter as my hostage. For what do I have to lose? 'Cause God, how dare you take it back? How can you just expect me to forgive you for that? I stand aside and scars there to have a place to bed. How can I so miss someone
Wow.
I've never even met? Theo, if you're listening, mother's coming, don't you fret. I thought that I was strong until I saw how small you were. For you, I didn't know hell could be a place on earth. Without you, don't know what to do. God, what did you expect?
I have to ask just because I'm curious. And this is probably just the fact that Epic has broke me a little bit because of Jorge's writing specifically. If the answer is as simple as it sounded nice, stop reading into it, great. But is there like a reason a second voice comes in there? Or is it just because harmonies are cool?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
It is. I definitely am intentional about where I put. Like,
That's why I was
secondary
curious, because there wasn't it had only really happened at one other part, and that one I understood the purpose. I knew why the voices were there the last time you started layering, and this time I'm like, oh, why it almost, and this is not a negative at all, but to me it almost felt the way I was experiencing it. It felt strange because the way, since it's a major harmony, it felt like the voice was being uplifted and supported in a line where she was feeling alone and unsupported. So I'm like, interesting. Why bring in the power and support when the feeling is loneliness?
Yeah. That's a great question. So, I mean, I think, like I said, a lot of what we're playing with on this EP is dreams versus reality, and like especially that theme in particular comes to a kind of climax here.
Yeah.
And for me, the major harmony there represents like the dream version of herself who is still with the child and still getting to rock him to sleep and sing him a lullaby and like do the whole thing. And then there's the version of her that's stuck in her current reality that is like, I know she's out there. I know he's out there. And yet I'm here and we're supposed to be together. Like what is up with that? Like, God, please.
Oh.
Like,
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Don't
Well,
ever be sorry.
it was because I cut you off a little bit with my reaction. I was like, wait, I need to remember my my sign language. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, that was and this is such a compliment with how far we are in, that everything else, they felt so in sync, but that was the first time I felt like the story and the music weren't telling the same story in my heart.
Yeah,
Which,
no, for sure.
like I said, is a compliment to everything, because there's so many other times where I'm like, oh my God, like I fully understand exactly how the music is telling, like they were so in sync. There was that one time where I was like, why is that? But that totally makes sense. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
He's my symphony when music's
Oh, don't connect it to music terms. That's my lyrical weakness. That's my lyrical weakness.
You remember at the beginning we had some glitching that had to do with music and its various forms. So that might be important now, maybe.
Leave me alone. just let me be okay. But please don't actually leave me alone. I'm loving this so much. Let's like and now we return with that Oh, and this is gonna lead. Yep. Figured as much. Okay. Cool. I mean, that was so cohesive. I'm ready to just hop right into the next one. I don't have anything to say specifically about that ending, but that was really cool. Like that was good. I think so far Mother 2 is my favorite of the 4 we've listened to, right? We're halfway through now? Cool. Yeah, of the 4 we've listened to, that one was my favorite. I love the sort of power of the start, but then like that climax is that's incredible. That's really good.
All JP's brilliance. And that transition, again, one of the other themes that we played with a lot with this EP was like obviously old ideas versus new ideas. Like what happens when you're having to let go of the old to make room for the new, and how do you make letting go of the old less scary and less dire because the new thing that's coming along might be what you're actually meant for. So we want to represent that here as like Mother 2 is kind of the climax of this is the end of the old. We are at rock bottom here. Like this is like we have held on so desperately to this old idea that we are literally drowning in it. We're under the water, you know? And so in my mind, this character goes and then turns on the radio, and the first thing she hears is like this very like classical symphony. It's kind of got a melancholy edge to it. And then something else breaks through, and this thing sounds a little out of place. But there's something very light and very springy about it, and like it brings in kind of these modern elements that then bring us into Mother 3, which is the new idea. Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yes.
And
I'm saying that because like it wasn't even like my idea. I was just like, oh my God, that's so brilliant. How do we represent that musically?
I love that. No, that's awesome. All right. And you guys might have noticed a sudden big change in transition. Even though it's the same video, between Mother 2 and Mother 3, we had to take a brief interlude because Tegan had a callback to get to, and I was so hungry that I'm pretty sure my stomach rumbles were being picked up by the microphone towards the end of Mother 2. So we had to take a quick break to take care of our own stuff, but we are back here. It's been just a couple of hours, and we are back to finish up Mother 3 for this video, and then hop into the deluxe EP for the video that will come out next week. So I just kind of wanted to say that as an explanation for the sudden changes, but we're not going to do a full intro or anything like that. Let's hop right on into Mother 3. Oh, I'm immediately feeling the tone difference.
There's no shock like expectations shatter. Not when you have nursed them from the womb.
Oof.
It's like standing at somebody's funeral. When you blink your eyes, you're in the tomb.
Tegan! We've been back for 30 seconds. What are you doing to me? That was such a good line. Hold on.
It's like standing at somebody's funeral.
I also just love the, it's like standing at some, like the way you get a little bit of, maybe you actually know because you have the vocal training and I can actually start using words that aren't what I'm about to say. What is the actual term for the Shakira voice? Like that very specific, like, and some, you know what? You know, like exactly that when like it's a little bit swollen, like your soft palate's a little bit further back, but there's also like, there's like multiple components to it. And I never know how to describe it in a video except just like the Shakira voice.
I have heard a lot of voice teachers and like voice specialists refer that to as like a swallowed sound.
Yeah.
Like throaty is another way that I hear.
Okay.
There's not really like I think a designated term
Yeah.
for it, but like you describe it as like it's. I mean, obviously you feel it. It's further. Everything's kind of further back.
Yes,
and, like,
that's exactly why I describe. I love that we have the same like motions. Like if you feel it further back, like we know how it feels and how to somehow translate that into hand motions.
That is so much of my teaching too. Is like I literally am just like, okay, let's find how it feels for you because then we can compare images that go with that that'll help you go to that place every time. Like that's really like most of coaching and stuff like that is just finding what works for people so
cool.
that they can just repeat it over and over and over again,
Yeah.
which I love.
But anyways, that was a whole distractor went on. I just love like everything else has felt so like either screamy or deep or everything, but that was just like that. It really felt like it was bringing like standing at somebody, like at somebody's, like just had a totally different tone to it, which is really interesting. Especially compared to what we had already got, you know?
And that was part of the goal. Was like, I was really intent on, okay, I started in theater. Most of my existing fan base knows me as someone who sings musical theater and sings in that style. And that's great. I don't want to lose that because that's always kind of how my voice has worked and where I've kind of found myself being happiest in terms of my vocals. But at the same time, when you're going into the pop world, you gotta sing pop sometimes. Yeah. Like you can't be this like you know, like all the time.
You could. I won't stop you, but I understand why it's hard. It's a little less accessible. Yeah.
So we were trying to like figure out a nice way to make that transition here.
I think I worked really well. I mean, I instantly picked up on it. So yeah.
You're in the tomb. Death forgets the meaning of tomorrow. Agony sets fire to today.
Okay.
When it's turned to ashes all around you, there's nothing left standing in your way. So write like it'll fix it, sing like it'll help. The pain so sharp will carve the dark with edges fortune hell. Make music to move on, scream stories to survive. Creation makes you
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
This is the happy one.
Oh my gosh. This is so pretty. I love the symbolism of that so much. I love so much just the sing to, like, everything about that. I don't even remember a single specific line, but all of that, just like sing like it'll help, do like this, do that, like all of these things we do, the creation, and then the creation makes you mother. The idea that like you can still bring these things into the world that make a difference to people is such a perfect like cap to what's already been established here.
Yeah, no,
Like,
that was
that's
and that was the
exceptional.
goal. It's like the place that I came to at the end of this whole journey was like basically, it's possible, and it's like nothing is over, nothing
Yeah.
is gone, nothing is to the end. It's just kind of changed form and how it might look. But that doesn't sound as pretty in a song as like something, quippy and inspirational. But I was struggling for a while because I was like, how do you write something inspirational without sounding like cheesy?
Yeah, that's tough.
And so I sat down and I had a brainstorm with this one in particular, just being like, okay, what have I learned from this trial, this lesson? Like, what actually have I come away with? And the thing that I just kept coming back to, especially looking back at all the music I had written for all of this already, was this idea of creation being what makes a mother. And yet
Wow.
creation isn't just any one thing. Creation is not birth, creation is not pregnancy, creation is not having children, creation's not even like God.
Yeah.
Creation is something that we are all capable of doing. It's an energy that lives inside of us. And so that like life-giving beauty and joy and creative
Yeah.
energy is something that like we all have access to. And that makes this really universal too, which was the other goal, is like, okay, how do we bring,
Bring it to
after
a
bringing
point
everyone on
that's
this journey with us, some of whom can relate directly, some of whom can't, how do we bring everyone together at the end? And
I love
this
that.
was what that, yeah.
It's really good. I'm taking that whole verse again because it's
When it's turned to ashes all around you,
back a little too far, but that's okay.
there's nothing left standing in your way.
All right, here we go. Come on.
So write like it'll fix it, sing like it'll help. The pain so sharp will carve the dark with edges forged in hell. Make music to move on, scream stories to survive. Creation makes you mother, it's why you're still alive. Creation makes you mother, so let the dead things lie.
Ooh, love the staccato there. Oh my god. I love that verse so far, obviously it still has a full 3 minutes to keep impressing me, but so far, I feel like Mother 2 would be my favorite to listen to and analyze. This is gonna be the one I sing to when I need it. Like this,
Yeah.
that's exactly, I can tell that's exactly the point of it, but oh my gosh,
100.
it's gonna work so much. Like I honestly, because I was literally listening to it this morning, like finishing it this morning,
Yeah.
so I actually fully don't remember if you told this to me or if you told this to Peter. I just remember hearing it today, which, by the way, guys, if you missed the interview with Peter Barber, go watch it. It's so good. But I remember you mentioning that one of your goals was to, like, be able to perform your song to an audience that sings it back. Girl, I'm going to be singing this song. I will be in the front when you make that tour happen. I will be in the front row, scream singing that song.
That was
Because
the goal.
I know that's a personal goal of yours, and I'm letting you know that if I don't manage to memorize the entire EP by then, it will at least be this song.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Oh, incredible.
Ready.
As a child, they tell you what you'll be when you grow up. Then I'll grow.
Yeah, we're gonna go there.
No, the way that that's literally... We talked, I think it was in this video batch, this is just going to keep making you try to pressure me to make it happen, but the way that that's like literally just one of the lyrics in my song, basically. like talking about the when you're a child, they tell you what you need to be when it's all grown up. The song that I wrote like 3 years before I knew what Epic or Tegan or Timo were. Oh my God, seeing that lyric on screen really got to me. Jeez. Okay, stop looking at me like that, Tegan.
So let the dead things lie. As a child, they tell you what you'll be when you grow up. Then all grown up, we unlearn what they said. But not before the holy war of cutting doubt out of your core. A parasite made fat and cruel by years and years of dread. Without that extra weight, you can't remember how to walk. So you stay in bed too scared to move. But you're not their hopes, my dear, nor the product of your fears. No, you are God herself, there's nothing wrong with you. So right, 'cause
Let's talk about the do.
Yes.
Like that was so good. Oh my gosh. Man, this is the first time where I've wished, this is going to sound bad, like I'm not wishing it for the rest of it, but just this has been wonderful. But this is the first time I feel like I wish I had Casper with me because he's so good at breaking down drum fills like that. Because he is a vocal percussionist, which is one thing he's amazing at. But also, whenever we're talking Epic or Hamilton or anything like that, he's so good at breaking down drum fills. And God, I want to hear him just talk for like 10 minutes, literally just about like
the product of your
this drum's going up and then
God herself, there's nothing wrong with you. So
yes, that's so good. Oh my God. Oh, exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. I love that.
right, 'cause it will teach you to sing is the first step. You did it once, learn light from dark. It's time to rise again. Make music to move on, scream stories to survive. Creation makes you mother, it's why you're still alive. Creation makes you mother, so let the dead things lie. Mother is in birth, mother's creation, mother's light. Mother means you get up every morning and you fight. Mother means you wrote a song and sing it to the skies. Mother means you no longer say sorry when you cry. Mother is unbridled joy, it's mourning and it's rage. Mother's when your gut tells you it's time to turn the page. Mother whispers get home safe before you make the drive. Mother is for all the girls who sacrifice their lives. Mother is a steady hand, a deep breath in the mirror.
This build.
Mother's when at 3 a.m. things feel a little clear. Mother's making time when someone tells you that there's none. Mother is pure magic, life incarnate, it's the sun. Mother is the backbone with less credit than is due.
Okay.
Mother's building empires out of ashes, death, and ruin. Mother is the closest thing we get
Here
to
it is.
above. Most of all, mother's the most ferocious form of love. So right.
Tegan.
Yes.
Tegan. I don't know if I've talked about it in the videos you've watched because I talk about it like 10 times a month. I don't think you understand. Literally, my entire audience is going to instantly know what I'm about to say as soon as it just happened. That is my favorite thing that any song can do. Literally, you just used of every musical technique that exists, you just used my favorite. It's the build and then instrumental dropout but I'm literally working on a video essay. It's multiple components that really have to come together because there's a lot of times where you'll have an instrumental break. And then there's a lot of times where there'll be other things, but it's specifically an instrumental break that is short enough that it feels just like a gap. It can't be like a whole kind of thing and then like the music slowly comes back in. It has to be like a build, quick cut, harmonies, quick re-enter.
Yep.
It's so good. There's multiple examples that I could give that I know Mason and Kaylee have pulled up before. So Kaylee, if you want to pause and show an example, you can. You don't have to. People know what I'm talking about at this point because I talk about it constantly. I talked about it in Ex-Wives because they do it in Ex-Wives too. The get your hands up, get this party buzzing. I talked about it there. So just, I love that so much and I'm so glad it was included here.
I think that classifies as an anti-drop. I'm not sure, but I think that that is a build off of an anti-drop, which is a term that
I was gonna say no one's ever given me a word to it. Even Peter Barber, I've tried to ask him like what it is, and he's like, it's multiple things together. And I was like, there's definitely one word for it. Yes, but still, anti-drop's not a term I've heard before. Hold on, I need it again. I need it again.
Is the backbone with less credit than is due. Mothers building empires out of ashes, death, and ruin. Mother is the
Here we go.
closest thing we get to what's above. Most of all, mother's the most ferocious form of love. So write 'cause it'll fix it, sing 'cause it will heal. Aching hearts endure the dark and come out made of steel. Make music and move on and let your stories fly. Creation makes you mother, it's why you're still alive. Creation makes you mother, you are your own damn why. Creation makes you mother, so let the new you try.
Nope, sorry, Mother 2. That's the best one. Sorry, Mother 2. You were immediately overtaken by your successor. I'm so sorry. Mother 2 is still stunning, but oh my god, that's so special. And that, I don't know if we actually mentioned this video, but that was the end. Like what we're checking out next is it's the deluxe, it's the epilogue, right?
Well, so Epilogue actually is on the original Mother
gotcha.
EP. We re-released it as a radio version because it's really long, and I think it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written, and it's more in that kind of pop rock world.
Gotcha.
So I was like, this would be good for radio, but it's too long for radio, so we need to figure out how to condense it a little bit. So we re-released it. But yeah, in terms of, and Mother 3 is also really special just because I want to give a quick shout out. Whereas in Mother 2, the choir was all my vocals, and Endome, that's all my vocals. Mother 3, I got some of my favorite and most treasured women in my life to sing the lyrics in the background of that one. Most of whom are not singers. Wow. So they were so mortified that I was asking them to do this. Like my best friends from elementary school up until now. Wow. And my aunt who doesn't sing, and my mom and my grandma, and all of them were like, if anyone would ever distinguish my voice in this fray, I think I would die of embarrassment. So please do not, I'm only going to do this for you, A, because I love you, and B, if you promise me that it will be so buried in your vocals that no one will ever be able to, know it's me. And so I promised them that, but, it's just a testament to how lucky I am to have the amazing women that I have in my life, because again, I cannot emphasize enough, these were my sister also, who is so against musicals and everything, she was just like, I'll do it only because I kind of like you sometimes.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Well, we will still be checking out Epilogue then next week, as well as the 2 releases on the deluxe, but I guarantee that this is going to be a long enough video as is. So thank you guys so much for making it through this. This was a beautiful journey. I loved it so much. This just genuinely, it's stunning. It's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna be listening to Mother 3 on repeat. Because I was even thinking to myself, as I was getting lunch, I'm like, God, I love Mother 2, but I don't know if I have the, just emotional strength to actually listen to that on repeat. That's gonna be an only when I can handle it song. This one's gonna be a daily, a daily pump-up jam. It's so good. So, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons. Oh gosh, where Wait, I don't know where we're gonna put the patrons list because normally it normally goes where you are. But thank you for my patrons wherever Kaylee ends up putting them. You can shrink us down and put it to the right or something. But we appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you, and of course for all the rest of you, thank you for being here. We will see you next week for the big finale of the Mother EP. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I can't believe we're doing one more still. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!